back, guys. We are on part 2 of my 250 to 300 horse build on this 2006 MK5 BRM TDI. Kind of to the easier stuff now, but got to go inside the engine here. If you guys watched the first video, we put a stage 3 south bend in here that I had acquired with one of my donor car purchases and didn't need it for that, so we threw that in here. And then, not that you can really see it, but we've got a GTB2265 turbo, straight 3-inch exhaust, and that was pretty much all the stuff to do outside of the engine. So now I've got a set of PD150 injectors. They've got about 100,000 miles on them, just a used set, and then a set of PD150 head bolts. So we're going to pull the valve cover, go ahead and swap out the bolts first. I'm just going to be doing them one at a time and not doing the head gasket, at least for now. And then, of course, I've got the tune, Techmetronics tune set up and ready to flash on here once we get the injectors in and backlash set. We'll be able to see how this thing works. I don't know, going over stuff on the last video, being this MK5 already has a front mount intercooler, I'm not sure that all these quick connect fittings and everything are going to hold 40 plus psi of boost, but it's already set up pretty ideal for that. That, and I know at least on the hot side of the intercooler piping is only about 2-inch. So the problem is I'm probably never going to actually dyno this car to see what it'll do, but 2.5-inch intercooler piping and maybe a bigger, well, probably a bigger intercooler up in front would benefit, but I'm just going to see what it'll do as is, because this is a pretty minimal build at that point. Everything else is pretty factory. So anyway, we'll go ahead and get the valve cover off here and see what to do next. Alright, so with the valve cover off, just checking over everything here. All looks good to go. This cam has, well, you guys could probably look back and watch the video of me putting the cam in here. Probably about 40,000 miles ago, so it's still looking good. So I'm gonna do the head bolts first. So I don't know that it matters doing one at a time if you do them in order, but I'll probably just go ahead and do the sequence anyway of the normal pattern you do. So I won't video that, but we'll pull those out and put one in at a time. I believe, I'll check. Can't remember what the exact torque spec is. I believe it's 45 foot-pounds and then 2 90-degree turns. So we'll go ahead and do that. Get those PD150 head bolts stretched in there, and then we'll be pulling these rockers off across there to get the injectors out. And with the new injectors in, we'll reset the backlash. Alright, we got the head bolts changed out here. There's the old ones. In case you're wondering, the biggest difference is the BRM comes with a 10.9 grade bolt, and the PD150 bolts are a 12.9, so just a little bit stronger bolt there. Hopefully hold down more cylinder pressure and more boost. So I got the rockers off as well, and injector rockers, so we're ready to take the injector hold downs off and get all the injectors pulled out. Alright, I got those out. Those not too critical. The biggest thing is I wanted to point out that it's pretty easy to drop those hold downs clear down in there. I imagine they'd stop somewhere, but it sure scares me of it going too far down in there, especially the bolts when you're pulling them out, so just be real careful there. But then I haven't really had much of an issue with just taking a bigger flat screwdriver and prying on either side of these injectors to wiggle them back and forth as I just pull up with my hands. And that usually gets all of them out that way, so I'm going to go ahead and get that done. Got the injectors out, got the bores all nice and clean, although being inside the engine they don't tend to get very dirty. I pulled a little bit of carbon out that got stuck in them, but anyway, honestly, they don't even look that bad for 220,000 miles, and the last like 50,000 miles I've been running quite a bit of waste motor oil through them, so pretty impressed that they're as clean as they are. But got the new set of PD150 injectors, put a new set of O-rings on them and new crush washers, and those are pretty much ready to go in. So that's pretty much it. Just swap them out there, and then we'll set the backlash once we get the hold downs back in. Okay, the PD150 injectors are in. Tighten down my hold downs. I always, if you've watched any of my install videos, I kind of give the injectors all a tap set between each torque of the hold down bolts to ensure that crush washer gets seated properly. And so now we're ready to put the rockers back on and set the backlash. So with the rockers back on, there's kind of this complicated process to do this. At least, I guess with the Bentley manual, I don't know, I've never even looked. Of course, I just used YouTube and Google. And what I found was there's kind of a cheat. So you can see here, I mean, it's pretty easy to visualize. Number 3 here is pressed down. And anyway, the intake lobe here, which lines up with the intake port, when it's pointed right at the rocker right here, you can kind of see it pointing up right there. When that's lined up, the injector lobe is also following that, so you can set your backlash from right there. So that's all you have to do, is just keep rotating the engine around and pressing each one. But you got to look at, because they flip-flop. This is the intake lobe on 1, but this is the intake lobe on 2. Anyway, then you tighten these down until they get snug, back them up 180 degrees, and tighten the set nut. And that's all there is to it. So I'm going to get those on, and then probably just get the valve cover back on. Okay, it's all buttoned up. Everything's pretty much done under the hood. I did almost forget I had to install a 4-bar map sensor here. Get rid of my 3-bar from my old tune. And then I'm on to my favorite part here. Just watching the tune load. So let's let this finish up and go for a test drive. So hopefully this camera mounts smooth enough here. Got some fresh asphalt to try it out on. I'm gonna have the window open for a little while. It's pretty fun to hear this turbo. But man, this thing pulls hard. Alright, one more acceleration here. Just starting from a standstill. Obviously this turbo is still pretty laggy. We're putting more fuel to it and it still doesn't do a whole lot right off, and then it comes in hard though when it does.